My name's Larry Love. Welcome to Peak Alarm Informational Training on Fire Alarm. Be really simple. When you are a property manager or an owner of a building, you don't need to know everything about fire alarm, but you need someone, a company that you can trust to come in and take care of your needs. This is a basic explanation. This is a sprinkler head like you'd find on the ceiling. Essentially, they're heat detectors. A lot of them are 165 degrees. And so if that one over there, somebody puts a lighter on it like in the movies, it will release water and start dumping, and it'll set off the alarm and the fire trucks will be dispatched. But that one over there is not going to go off until the ceiling hits 165 degrees. So it's not like the movies where all of them start dumping water everywhere. You want to know about that. And so this is a flow switch. So if you go in one of your mechanical rooms or your fire alarm riser, you'll see this red box. This red box has a little paddle that ties into the tubing. And a lot of times it'll be a bigger pipe. And that little paddle, when water starts to flow, will go click, and it'll start to flow and set off the flow switch. Some of them have a delay on them because if there's water surges, then it'll delay. And then you also have tampers. This is one example. There's several different types. Some of them are bigger wheels. So when you start to turn it, this is up and down like this. It says open. And if I turn it, you'll see that it will go to the closed position. And so that's a tamper. If someone shuts off your water for fire sprinkler for service, for example, you get a tamper. That's why you should put the system in test before you have service done. See all these wires? We would connect to some of these wires in order to monitor whether your water for your fire system had been shut off or not. These can connect to other things as well. This could be a smoke or heat detector. Code requires one at the main fire alarm control panel, outside the elevator, out in the elevator room, sometimes in the top of the shaft if the shaft is sprinkled. There's some rules, you don't need to worry about those. This is a pull station. One pull is required on a fully sprinkled building. And if the building's not sprinkled, or if it has a different occupancy classification like a daycare, something like that, then you may have them at all the exits. And at a daycare and some other occupancies, you may have to put smokes in every single room and every 30 feet in the hall. There's different requirements for the height and pitch of the ceiling and things like that. These are horn strobes. They make a really loud sound and go bah, bah, bah. I'm not a great actor, but that's similar. That's a tempo code 3. Bah, 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 bah. If you have a voice evacuation system, they are speaker strobes, where they'll come on and say, there's been a fire detected in the building, and they give you a message. And it can be in different languages, just depending on the occupancy, what it tells you to do. These fire horn strobes have specific distances they have to be. And in rooms, like conference rooms, you would have just a strobe only in bathrooms. So it would be just a strobe only. Unless it's a really big bathroom, sometimes the fire marshals have required horn strobes. For us to give you a price on monitoring, a lot of companies call and they say, well, how much is your monitoring? Well, it depends what services you have. If you have monitoring, and then you have test and inspection, that depends how big your system is. If you have 100 of these and we have to go around and test all of them, it's going to take a little bit longer. So we would put the test and inspection over the 12 months, divide it out so that you would get less of a charge, whether it's a really small system, could be maybe $15 a month, or if it was a really big system, we might be putting $40 a month, so you wouldn't have to pay the whole thing. And then you get your annual inspection. Annual inspection is what's required by state law and code, is to tag and test the fire alarm system. Now, the sprinkler system itself has a different tag, different certification. So the fire alarm system would be tagged by a fire alarm person that has a special certification. This is not all for fire alarms. There's a lot more. I mean, you can have dampers, which would open and close. As far as the airflow goes, you can have duct detectors. What those duct detectors essentially are smokes with a long tube inside the ductwork. And so if you have air handlers, rooftop units, or big air handlers over 2,000 CFM, that's how much air it's pushing, then we would monitor those. And sometimes if they're under 2,000 CFM, we wouldn't have to monitor them. Sometimes there's still duct detectors in there just to shut the motor down so they don't if the belt rips or something. There's all sorts of things involved in it, but we can help you with those. When you get a fire alarm system, a brand new one, you're gonna need CAD drawings, submittals to the fire marshal, including battery calculations, voltage line drop calculations to make sure the horn strobes are firing. So you put horn strobes out, these flashing sounding device, well, they're appliances. You put those out, and if you have more on a circuit than you should, then the last couple might not even be sounding or flashing. So we do the calculations to make sure that you have plenty of voltage to do the whole circuit. And so we work in conjunction with electrical contractors. A lot of times they will install the wire and the devices. Sometimes we'll do it. Conduit is less expensive to have an electrical contractor do it than have us do it. We will certainly be happy to do that, but what's involved in a big building, we'll probably have to have lifts. We have to get the permit signed by the fire marshal on the plans for the design before we can even start work. And so some companies, so if you go with a mom and pop company that's really small, they don't worry about liability so much. Sometimes they don't worry about permits. That puts you at risk because as far as your insurance goes, if you don't have the fire alarm tested and tagged every year, and then you have an incident like a fire, insurance companies aren't going to pay the claim. They look for any reason not to pay the claim if it's something you should have done that you didn't do. So this is like the main board, and the DMP has UL listed fire boards that we can put fire and security on if the fire marshal is okay with that. But it's similar. We have in a red can, we have Potter, we do Silent Night, Firelight. Potter's really cool. Right now, it's not on back order like some of the other products where it takes so long to get. So some things get on back order, especially with what we're going through right now, but we can get together a bid for you once it's signed and we have a 50% deposit, then we can get your equipment ordered, get your permit process going. If you're in Salt Lake City, we would apply for the permit and then you would pay the permit directly to the city and to get the plans stamped and everything like that. Salt Lake has different ways of determining how much the permit is, and it's hard for us. It's not a set number like, okay, if it's this much square footage, it's $400. If it's this much square footage, it's $8. I did a warehouse with a flow and tamper system on it, and it was an $850 permit for the fire alarm. Not for the sprinklers, for the fire. The sprinkler had a separate permit, separate plans, everything. So if you're a property manager and you're trying to figure this out, invite us out. I'll come and walk through your job site with you, get the plans, we can start the process. And like I said, if you're gonna bid it out, that's great, but have some specifications and some plans. And the specifications list out exactly what you expect and what needs to be done. And then the plans will show where everything is. And if you don't have plans drawn by a certified fire alarm technician or a PE, which is a professional engineer, then you're going to have plans drawn up by someone that's certified to submit those plans. And so it is a bit of a process. In the new construction phase, you don't normally worry about that. It goes through the general contractor. But if you're replacing something old, have us come out. We can help you with that process, and it will be much easier if you get an expert to help you with it. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day. My name's Larry Love. 801-898-6003 is my cell. Larry@peakalarm.com. And I am a NICET certified technician, so I can go through the plans, help you with the spacing of those items. Sometimes they require a third-party review and get that done, help you out with this whole process. Have a wonderful day. Bye.